right, so I'm Darren, FishDonkey. We have a mobile app for running fishing tournaments. So you can run a complete fishing tournament on your mobile phone, take all the photos, everything, and we control and run tournaments on our phone. We started this company in June of 2016. We worked on the app. We have an iPhone app and an Android app and a website and then a back-end database. So it took almost a year to get going. At the end of July last year, we released our software, and we immediately did a couple paid tournaments. And then, you start to get winter. We've done about, right now we have 10 live tournaments that you can join on our site for next summer, including a large one that's coming up in Voyageurs National Park. We are a self-funded company with no investors. We've used a lot of subcontractors to help build the software. We have 2 teams in Poland. And I'm the founder, Darren, Bachelor of Science in Engineering from Minnesota, and then an MBA in New Ventures from MIT. And the first thing I want to tell you about is it's a conservation aspect to this, and it's tournament software. And I immediately thought, well, this catch and release, it does have a conservation aspect, but it's actually a lot more than that, because the more I learned about it, and the more I talked to people, fishing tournaments damage fish a lot more than you think. And it's not just the fish that die while you're catching them. It's putting them in the live well and then bringing them around for most of the day and then having this weigh-in at the end of the day. And the state of Minnesota says it's 20% die. It's not, they don't die immediately because it's a live weigh-in. They die within 5 or 6 days afterwards. And this is from a Texas study in 2012, and they did largemouth bass, which are very hardy fish. 40% overall of the weigh-in fish died. That's 38.2. But the thing that was really stood out to me is you're out there trying to catch the largest fish in your tournaments, and you're bringing those back to the weigh-in area. And they did side by side a catch and release and a weigh-in tournament. Above slot fish, which are your largest fish, 100% of the weigh-in fish died, 0% of the catch and release died. And then you've got your slot fish, which are also your large fish. 46% of weigh-in slot fish died, 0% catch and release. They had special permission by the state, their DNR, to keep slot fish for this tournament as a part of the study.
What's a slot fish?
Slot fish. Oh no. A slot fish is just, so the state of Minnesota has, say walleyes, anything from, depending on the lake, 18 inches to 28 inches must be immediately released. So if you're fishing in a tournament and you're catching walleyes, if you catch a fish between 18 and 28 inches, immediately needs to be released, and it doesn't ever get weighed in the tournament. It's just released. And yeah, that's the slot. And so with FishDonkey, actually, you can measure slot fish, and we'll get into that. So we're saying you should use length and not weight for tournament fishing. And I think as we go further on in the future, this is the way of the future. We will be using length instead of weight. It just makes so much more sense. And like children today who grew up and become tournament fishing will look back and say, why were we ever weighing fish? Why were we capturing them and then taking them around with us and then bringing them back to this one location to be measured by weight? When it doesn't make sense, we don't need to do it. Already regulations are in inches, and we're already talking a lot about inches. Even when we talked about the slot limit just now, we talked about inches. Fishermen keep boards in their boat and they measure their fish by inches. Then I already mentioned the weigh-in brings fish to one spot of the lake. If we go by length, we're going to reduce fish mortality, and that gets worse with warmer temperatures. Also, the whole process of running a weigh station, there's a lot of people and a lot of volunteers involved, and there's these big tanks of water, and the fishermen are taking these fish and they're dumping them into tanks, and then they're taking them and running and keeping them in. They're trying to keep the fish fresh and alive so that they can be weighed. And so this whole thing, running calibrated weigh stations and all that, can be eliminated if you do this by length and do it right away on the lake. And with a length tournament, there's no need to officially check all submissions. With a weight tournament, you need to weigh every single fish and get it on a leaderboard. With a length tournament, you don't need to officially check every fish. People are going to self-report. If they've got a small fish, they're going to self-report it. If they're not a winner, you don't need to you don't need to verify that fish. Results are automatically updated by the software, so tournament results are immediately available. So if we go to catch and release, one of the reasons why we're currently doing weight tournaments is because there are these problems with catch and release. And as you can see, like, these lips look suspicious on this photo. Now, if you are running a traditional tournament and you go to catch and release, the difference is with a traditional catch and release tournament, people could just hand in an old photo or they could alter the photo. But if we use our app, we take all photos through the app. So you don't just use your camera and take photos and then turn these things in. You take the photos through the app. So now we control it. We can immediately encrypt the photo, make sure there's no changes to it digitally. No one can change one little thing about it. We also have time and location, this kind of information along with it. And so we know where you were. We know that you're not cheating. You're not able to change the photo. And that's a big thing. The other thing is, if you want to do a stringer or a bait limit tournament, where say you catch 5 bass or 10 bass, if you do it with a traditional tournament of catch and release, people could just take a photo of a fish, throw in the live well, half an hour later, take it out, take another photo of it, and hand in and say, oh yeah, well, I caught 2 identical 22-inch fish. But what we have with the app is, as a part of the app, we have a video release. So you take your photos of the fish, and then you take a video of the release, and the fish is gone. We saw it swim away. So, and we know what time it was, where it was. Everything is a part of the submission. So that's the advantages of FishDonkey over traditional catch and release. And then the other thing is, over traditional tournaments, just in general, if you're going to run a long contest, there's a lot of time spent collecting photos from email, sorting these things, putting them on a leaderboard. All of this stuff happens automatically when you use the app. Someone just submits a fish and it's all sorted automatically, put on the leaderboard. So right here is, this is an example of one of our leaderboards. This was a largest walleye and sauger tournament, a catch and release tournament. What we have is, this is what a fisherman sees as soon as they turn on their phone and they open up the app. If they're in a tournament, it immediately goes to the leaderboard. There's a button here for them to enter a fish, and it shows current leaders. Anybody can click on any of those, and it'll show the fish. Click on Nick Nissen's fish, you'll be able to see it's a 15.5-inch fish. You can zoom in incredibly. You can see everything about it. And then as a tournament host, you have these options of verifying a fish. Every fish is just initially put on the leaderboard as unverified. They have the option to deny it or verify it and check out all of the fish. We're finding that this changes the market for tournaments. Like currently, there's 104,000 participants in the state of Minnesota in fishing tournaments, but this also opens it up to unofficial tournaments and contests, like summer-long contests, almost virtual tournaments. You could do a year-long tournament. You can do a countrywide, tournament or a contest, and you can use it as a way to promote your business. We have a lot of ways to work sponsors back into promoting the app. Using the app to promote sponsors. As far as how we make money, it's free to create a tournament because we want people to use the app, and we think there's a networking effect to it. Once you use the app, then you start seeing how I could use this to run my own tournament or my own contest. So it's free to create and run a tournament, and then we have free tournaments and paid tournaments. If it's a free tournament, everything's free. It's free for you to create it, and it's free for your participants to use it. If it's a paid tournament, then we have a fee. It's kind of like the Eventbrite model, where if it's a $20 tournament, we add, it's $1 plus 5%, which comes to $2. If it's more than $20, then the fee changes a little bit. But so that's how we make our money, is we take this $2 fee. So a $20 tournament, the tournament gets $20, we get $2, and the fisherman pays $22. And That's all I have for you.
All right, let's give Darren a round of applause.
Open it up.